Crazy.
Okay, so Carmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old high schooler, has been charged with murder for the stabbing of another 17-year-old high schooler, Austin Metcalf. Now, before we get into this, people are making this a race thing, right? Online. So Carmelo Anthony's black, Austin Metcalf is white. Carmelo Anthony, a black student, stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart during the altercation. So majority of the white population that I see online don't care about the facts. Only thing they care about, this black kid stabbed this white kid. He needs the death penalty, blah, blah, blah. He's guilty. They don't care about the facts or nothing. Over here, we're going to break down the facts. We're not going to play the race line. We're just going to go straight down the facts. And then we can get into the whole racial thing because it's wild ironic how the same people who swear to God, they don't see color. We don't see color. Why does everything have to be race? Stop playing the race card. They're the ones online playing the race card. So, long story short, Carmelo Anthony goes to a track meet. They got these tents, in the stands. They got the easy ups. Austin Metcalf has a twin. They're football stars at the school or whatever the case. They come. Their story is he's under the wrong tent. They tell him to move. They have some words. Both of the brothers, they're built. They're pretty, they're like twice his size. Like I said, they're football stars. So he tells them he's not moving. They tell him, hey, move or I'm going to physically remove you. He says, try it and see what happens. Unbeknownst to them, he has a knife in his backpack. So they go to physically move him. They get into a tussle. He pulls the knife out the bag, stabs one of the brothers to get him off him. Bam. Police come. He threw the knife in the thing. He admitted to doing it when the police got there, blah, blah, blah. Now, there's a lot of breakdowns and key details of what's going on in this conflict. First of all, we can get into the Texas legal right to self-defense because it's different than other states. Because a lot of people are in other states saying, oh, this is murder, this is murder. Well, technically, if you look at the state laws, he might get off on self-defense. And what was a key detail to me, because I want to get y'all input on what you think about just what happened first before we get into the pictures they're putting online and, the narratives they're starting to spin. It's funny that George Zimmerman, Daniel Penny, Kyle Rittenhouse, all deemed as heroes by the same exact people that's crucifying Carmelo Anthony right now. The same exact people called George Zimmerman a hero for following a teenager in his neighborhood when the police told him to stop following him and ended up gunning down Trayvon Martin. Daniel Penny choked out an unarmed, mentally deranged, mentally unstable person on a train until he died, and people called him a hero. Kyle Rittenhouse took an AR-16 from his parents' home, crossed state lines to go get into a conflict and unalive like 3 people. Given they were pedos, they were good as, he actually did a good deed because they were pedophiles, but nevertheless, he took a gun across state lines as a teen to go use it. Let's just be real. That's what it was. He got to use it. He just hit the right people. These people were deemed as heroes. So what is the difference in this case? Because we know for a fact, if the roles were reversed and 2 menacing black football stars walked up on some little white kid and tried to physically remove him, and a white kid would have stabbed one, everybody would have been calling him damn near a hero. Oh, they were, they football stars and his life was in danger and blah, blah, blah. So what do y'all think about this, man?
We know the difference is he black. Go ahead, Callie. I'm gonna let you cook.
I was seeing reports as well that they actually have fought at a party a week before. If that is true, it doesn't look good for me. And I'm more of like, I could see the reason as to why you did what you did, but I don't think it looks good for him. 1, he already admitted that he did it. 2, he's black. He's in Texas, which we know they don't give too many passes, even when I understand what you're saying about the self-defense thing. For me, if you already caught a fade with bro and you lost or whatever the case is, because remember, they're from 2 different schools. So it looks like you knew that he was going to be there. And then again, I ran track all of high school. You got the easy ups, like you said. we're pretty separated when it comes to teams. So if you had the fight a week later, you're at a track meet, you know he's gonna be there, you're in the opposing team's tent causing a ruckus, or you talking to people, whatever the case is, it looks like you put yourself in a position where if you knew they were probably going to say something, so you were able to use the weapon to do what you want to do for get back. If what I've read is true, because there was a space with some people in there with a dude by the name of Lou Fax on Twitter who was talking about it, and supposedly they've been beefing. So it to me looks like it's a case of I planned for some get back and I got it. That's why when he got caught, he admitted it. Like, yeah, I did it. Fuck
He
that
admitted
nigga.
it. I would think he admitted it because he probably felt like he didn't do nothing wrong. And I know the first thing people gonna say, well, why did he need a weapon at a track meet? If for what you saying is true, I need some type of protection. If he would have had a gun, it would have blew a fuse. If he had a knife or whatever the case is. At the end of the day, I don't care about the week before, them squabbling, whatever it is. If I know I'm trying to do something better as far as running track or at a track meet and I have issues, I'm just not letting these niggas mark me out and not do what I need to be doing. So if he was in the wrong tent, who's to say do they actually have proof of him being in the wrong tent? Because if he was or wasn't, they still could have chose to go to another tent.
Okay.
I'm sure that wasn't what you got.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sure that wasn't the only tent. And that sounds like to me two people that didn't like somebody or didn't like each other, however it went, and thought they was gonna mark him out about something. And like you said, you came and tell me I'm gonna remove you out of a tent. And if you get up out of here, and if you don't get up out of here, I'm gonna move you up out of here. They tried to move him up out of here, and he got busy like he was supposed to do. Regardless of how it happened, if it was just a fight, then people wouldn't be this livid about it. But like you just said, let this been two black males come in there. That's all they would have said. It's the same thing they do. They're aggressively this, they're that. Like other races can't be aggressive. And even being a smaller person, he probably looked at it, I can't get what they programmed to. First, if I lost a head up of one, then you want me to fight both of them now?
Okay, so where did the fight story come from? Because I'm only dealing with the facts of what happened, not no hearsay. Maybe they got in a squabble, maybe they didn't. I just want to stick to the facts of what happened. Now, the full police report was actually released. So before the police report was released, it was a lot of stories going on about what might have happened or what didn't happen. So the police report, it says, dispatch was called out about a stabbing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the suspect was reported as black male wearing a gray hoodie, blue sweatpants. I immediately left my office, ran across the parking lot. I'm trying to get to where they said exactly what happened. Okay, they entered the stadium. Once arrived onto the north side bleachers, an adult male who was on the track pointed out the suspect. I was not able to identify that witness, blah, blah, blah. The suspect was on point. Okay, let me get to the next page. It's like 7 pages.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
hold on. Let me get to the next page. Because people are saying, according to the police report, it's pretty much deemed as self-defense. He says, okay, here it is. When I arrived on the scene, I know. I just kind of wanted to get y'all backstory. I thought y'all was already up on it. I should have asked. So it says, while I was walking towards the visitors' bleachers, I was approached by a witness who identified himself as, they blanked it out. He began telling me what happened, and I asked him where the stabbing occurred. So they blanked out the names of the witnesses. So this is an eyewitness report of somebody who was there.
The witness is probably minors.
Yeah, exactly. When the witness stated the stabbing occurred and gave him the crime scene tape to start securing the crime scene. I then they blanked out his name, moved the walkway under the visitors' bleachers, he ran further to speak with me. The following is a summary of my contact with, they blanked his name out, advised while he was sitting at the Memorial High School pop-up tent with his teammate. Okay, so here's where it looks like they start to say what happened. Austin and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony. Anthony was from Centennial High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move from out their team's tent. And Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens. No one really thought Anthony really had a weapon in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Blank recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Austin began grabbing his chest, telling everyone to get help. Blank advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial track member, Blank was friends with Anthony and he could identify Anthony. Blank described Anthony as a black male, blah, blah, blah. So basically,
to Kali's point, he was right.
These people, these two twin brothers, approached him. So this is where it gets into the self-defense. Regardless of what 10 he was under, they approached him aggressively and they physically tried to remove him. So if you look up Texas self-defense laws, including the Castle Doctrine, it allows individuals to use force, including deadly force, to protect themselves or others from imminent harm, provided the force used is reasonable and proportional to the perceived threat. Now, that's where it's going to get iffy if this is murder or this is self-defense. Is his life in imminent danger? And was that reasonable, proportional to the perceived threat? They're going to have to decide, was the threat perceived to be life-threatening or not? But to him, it could be.
But to Kali's point, you're in the wrong tent. You're in here. You brought a weapon to a track meet. Now, in a sense, like you had intentions, they're going to find motive of what you was in the tent for. Your intentions was to maybe do something. You might have knew that was their tent. You probably ran in there, seen them come up out of there and went up in there and waited for them, knowing they was going to press you about something. So depending how it goes in court, it can go either way, but it's going to be dependent on what type of lawyer he has and how they're going to paint that picture.
Yep.
But the narratives can get pushed by the media, and it can go left for him.
One thing that creates nuance, though, to what I did say about him being over there was that in the police report you just read, there was another person in the Memorial School tent that said they were able to identify him, and that was supposedly Karmelo's friend. So if that's the case, then that would give him a motive for being over there. As in, like, I wasn't over here
by myself, so I knew it was going to be two of them.
No, I wasn't over here to hurt them. I was over here because my friend is from the school.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, come on. We all been to high school games, football, track. You move around the bleachers, bro. Everybody knows everybody. You might have known somebody from the other school. You go to the opposing team side. It might be some girls over there you never seen from another school. This is high school, bro.
We run track. No, and that's a key point because that could be there. Yeah, I was chilling in the tent. So, and then if y'all didn't press both of them, you only pressed him about it. The other dude is in the tent. This probably y'all teammate, but it's probably his friend. Because you grow up, if you playing sports in a sense, you're going to know the opposing players at least from some type of way. If you're growing up in track, by the time you're 17, from 9th grade to maybe 12th grade, you're going to know the players on opposite teams.
So this is another witness. They asked him what happened. He stated they were all sitting on the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent when another male who he did not know walked over and sat under the tent. Blank then said Austin, the victim, told the male that since he did not go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. Austin and the male went back and forth, and Austin stood up, pushed the male to get him out of the tent. So Austin got physical with Karmelo. He initiated the violence first. Austin and the male went back and forth, then Austin stood up, pushed the male to get him out the tent, blah, blah, blah. He said during the time of the argument, the male was reaching around in the bag that he had. It was at this time the male took the knife, stabbed Austin. This is all I remember.
He should beat it then.
So again, they approached him, told him get out the tent. They're students. They don't have the authority to tell anybody to go anywhere. So if dude was under another team's tent and they felt he didn't have the right to be there, they were supposed to go get the staff and let the staff know, hey, this dude's under the tent, blah, blah, blah. Let the staff handle it. And now if the staff choose to remove him or not, they have the authority to do so. They chose to take the authority in their own hands and get physical with somebody else. And like I always say, once you get physical with somebody else, you don't get to dictate their reaction because he sees two of y'all. This is in Texas. I'm going to look up the demographic of the high school. I'm assuming where they were at was majority white at the school. So why he had the knife in the bag, I don't really think that serves no relevance because you're in Texas where everybody carries guns.
Yeah.
Everybody carries weapons to protect themselves. Everybody believes in the Second Amendment. Everybody, the right to bear arms. Everybody believes in all of that.
It does. What you're saying is right, but also it's like if you brought a gun on campus, like a lot of these things, or weed on campus, or a knife on campus, it becomes something different because you're on school grounds. So I believe that's more so in the realm of a federal crime. I don't know how it is in Texas, but I know in California, if you were to sell weed on school grounds, that's worse than just selling it outside. If you were to bring a gun on school grounds, that's worse than just having a gun outside of school grounds.
No, for sure, but that
the
doesn't
knife,
show intent of doing
doesn't,
it.
Now, he
but
never had the motive. Yeah.
it doesn't, but I'm saying that it makes it murky because you had to conceal that weapon to bring it in. So it does, to a certain degree, give a back and forth where it's like, okay, well, why would you bring a weapon to a track meet? It doesn't really,
Okay.
that part doesn't make sense.
Because let me say this.
I wish they would have just got down and then, because, you know,
hold on.
again,
Let me get this key point. To your point about the knife, in Texas, it's legal to carry knives.
okay, so then,
It's legal to carry a knife as long as the blade is less than 5.5 inches. As long as it's 5.5 inches or less, in Texas, it is legal to own and carry virtually any type of knife, regardless of the size, with the exception of location restricted knives. So a knife that is larger than 5.5 inches is considered location restricted.
so then he might beat it. He might
So
beat
in
it.
Texas, students under 18, they can't carry that unless it's, smaller than 5.5.
He should, based off of all that, what you just read, he should beat it. To me, unless they just want to stretch him. A lot of us nigga be having cases beat and still get stretched. But he should, based off the fact that they came over there, tried to punk him, tried to punk the wrong one, wrong day. And well, then you got the right one because he handled his candle. So at the end of the day, they tried to bully him, was bigger than him. It's pretty sure that they probably was some popular kids and felt like this how they can do people, especially, and I ain't gotta even make it about race. It just felt like he was less inferior. And if it goes true to what you said, if they already had issues with this boy, then that's just even more of a reason for him to be carrying it himself.
This is where the narrative painting starts, though, right? Like, this is why you're seeing the certain pictures released of their Instagrams, and
what type of person he is.
They're trying to build that case at that point, because that's what's really, at the end of the day, that's how most cases get, solved. It's not necessarily about evidence. It's about how can we make these people look. So that at this point, that's why they're releasing certain photos of Karmelo, and then they're not released, because there's pictures of the white dude with guns too, hunting.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
So it's they're the same person, and in 2025, I mean,
everybody got guns.
Pop culture is like everybody talks and walks and acts the same way. It's just people perceive it differently because somebody's black and somebody's white. So at this point, it's going to be about how can they paint Karmelo on the case or on a trial. That's going to come down to if he gets off or not. Because what you're saying, the evidence is there for him to get off.
But this is what they're trying to paint Karmelo as this thug. So they took a picture of him holding, which it looks like some type of rifle, AR-15, AR-16, or some type of AK-47 or something like that. I say AR-16. I don't know why I always say that. They cropped out his white friends who were in the photo.
Yeah.
And only left his black friend to make it look like it was two black thugs holding guns.
Crazy.
Then on the flip side, the kid who lost his life, who actually went to go bully him to get him out of the tent, has the exact same photo online holding a similar weapon with his family and his friends. So they're not making that go viral to show him as a thug. They're using his gun photo to show, hey, he comes from a good home. They practice, firearm safety, blah, blah, blah.
Hunting.
But then on the flip side, he's a thug with the gun.
So
they even cropped out his white friends.
Okay, so do we as a people change the narrative? Do we start making that go viral? You know what I'm saying? We make all our people go viral when we under the fire.
People are definitely on Twitter, and I think on a lot of social media platforms, showing and poking holes in Austin Metcalf and like who he is as a person. So I think it's there. I just think the overall perception of what we are as a people is kind of overshadowing
think
overshadowing that.
The only thing the good thing about Texas, I think that's not gonna really hold too much weight because a lot of them take their kids, teach them how to shoot guns
Yeah.
when they're young. They hunt, they do a lot of different things out in Texas when it comes to that. And I'm pretty sure any judge, jury, or whoever's in there own guns in their house. 9 times out of 10, majority of them are going to be the same way and have guns and might say, I would do the same thing. They be ready to kill you for stepping on their line. So
Here goes a key detail that I believe is going to help him get off. So if you got your headphones, you'll be able to hear Austin Metcalf's own father says he feels bad for his son's killer. He says he does not want people to make this a race thing. So he put out a statement. Well, I'm going to play that right now.
There. It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know. They weren't there.
So that's his father, the victim's father,
sound like a stand-up nigga.
telling you don't make this a race thing, because what I'm thinking is he saw the details of the case and he's looking at the facts going, damn, my son went over there. Regardless of the situation, my son was the aggressor. And he's from Texas. They believe in stand your ground and self-defense, because I damn sure believe if his son was on the receiving end of the bullying and he had done something similar, the father would have been probably proud of the way his son reacted. Now, everybody's making this an issue simply because he's black and the victim is white. That's it. That's all. Point blank, period. I'm not sugarcoating it. They're making it a thing because he's black and the victim happens to be white. When the victim is black, the person who's white, they champion them. Look at Daniel Penny. Look at Zimmerman. Like, we can go down the list. Look how many police officers unalive and kill unarmed black people every day. And people say, oh man, you don't know their job, the stress of their job. We don't know what happened before the camera cut on and this and that. It's always a fucking excuse and they always move the goalposts. So given that, I'm going to say bro should get off on self-defense, period, point blank. Just given the fact that they were the aggressors, they got physical with them. You can't tell somebody how to defend themselves. You can't. And when does the age play into factor with this? Because they tell you your brain ain't fully developed till you're 25. Bro is 17. So at what point did he make an irrational decision with an underdeveloped brain? Maybe at 25, he reacts a little differently. But at 17, his brain isn't fully developed to even make the right choice if that was the wrong choice. Does that not play a factor now?
I mean, I think you could also, put some accountability on a school, right? Like, if you don't want weapons, you have to take the precautions to not have that in there as well. Like, but again, if it's legal to have that, then why would they be searching for it anyway? So I hope he can get off. I wish that, somebody's life wouldn't have been lost, only because I'm a believer in a, good old fashioned squabble, and it is what it is. But, things happen and things escalate, and they are where they are now. But and that's unfortunate, because that's, to me, harder to beat than we just squabbled and then, it is what it is, an altercation. It's like you killed somebody. So it's going to be looked at differently and more intensely than if it was just that.
Yeah, even especially after hearing what the father just said, respect to that father, man, and forget what I just said about making a white boy go viral. The father basically, it's hard, it's an unfortunate situation on both ends. Like he said, fuck the race stuff. And I just think he knows how he raised his sons to be. So I think he's just accepting the fact that his sons might have been overly aggressive and they made the wrong choices too. So at the end of the day, he's accepting that as a man, is basically like leave it up to the court, to leave it up to what's going on. But it's unfortunate that this boy, whatever type of career, I don't know how good they was in sports and stuff like that, that 2 lives possibly could be ended. One from the white boy and one if the boy gets juvenile life. Nobody wins in a situation. But like I said, respect to that father for just even basically telling everybody to stay up out of it and just leave it at that, because he's having compassion for the black kid as a white man. So I think we should just leave it there and let this play out. At the end of the day, ultimately, he should get self-defense. There's no reason not to. When people came and approached you and aggressively threatened you, that you can get, I don't know how it is in Texas, but out here, they give you terrorist threats and all type of stuff. You go
For
Threatening
words.
somebody,
for
yeah.
just words. So
They actually physically
assaulted
pushed him and
Yeah.
assaulted him. I mean, it is what it is. You can go to jail for spitting on somebody is considered assault. And the only reason this has to be judged straight down the middle with the facts, because like I said, you just compare case after case after case. I know it's different states, different jurisdictions, but the outcome is the same. Somebody lost their life and somebody was let off. In a lot of these cases, they were in the wrong and still got let off. They told Zimmerman, stop following Trayvon.
Do you
He
think
kept following him.
do you think white people riot if he gets let off?
No, they
Nah.
don't riot. But what I do think, I think
Or
they're
somebody
gonna,
comes up lynched?
what I think is they're gonna let him off in hopes that happens. Because if you look on Twitter, they've been trying to incite race riots for the longest.
Well,
They
you-
got spam accounts. They have ghost accounts where all they're posting are black attacks on white people. So they're
Oh, yeah,
causing
I've been
this.
seeing that, dude.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
you know
causing this
the-
uproar of to make it seem like blacks are just targeting
It could be
white
stuff from
people.
20 years
Well, you
ago
know the
they'd be
family.
posting.
You know Karmelo Anthony's family hasn't been able to leave the house in days, right? They're receiving like pictures of black men or black boys with gunshots to the head, knives in their head. So it's ugly over there for them. And that's also what you just said about them releasing him in hopes that happen. You know, that's still Texas. That's still the South, where racism is rampant. I mean, it's rampant everywhere, but really in them southern states, it's ugly. So if he does get released and let off, I hope he can, remain safe.
His family better just strap up and stay strapped. But like I said, just anybody that's watching this, go on Twitter. They're trying to incite race riots. I'm telling you right now, they're showing as young as toddlers fighting on a playground, making it seem like black toddlers are targeting white toddlers. To 80-year-old men that's having fights or 80-year-old women, there literally are accounts of just black attacks on whites. They're not showing the white attacks on blacks though. And I'm gonna go as far as to say as, how could you be mad at any of that when a lot of this is learned behavior from them? Blacks naturally are not violent people. Blacks naturally are accepting people, overly friendly, sometimes too friendly. If you look at the history, blacks have always been accepting. Whether you want to go to the Moors who civilized Europe, showed them how to bathe, whether you want to show the Africans who came in, shared the resources, whether you want to go to the Indians, the real Indians who showed them how to survive and in return gave them smallpox, allegedly. I got to say allegedly because it's YouTube, but we all know the facts. Tuskegee experiment.
Whether you want to go to
What-
today, where we allow everybody in the culture just to come to the barbecue.
No, for sure. But I mean, like how we're met in return. Like y'all forgot about slavery, using our kids for gator bait. And they're like, oh, this is what they're teaching their children to hate white people. You forgot white people used to bring their kids to public lynchings? There's photos right now. You can go on Google right now and see little white kids smiling at a dead hanging black man's body. The whole town used to come out to watch it.
But a lot of them play the
So this is learned behavior.
It is-
We
it
weren't
is.
violent like that, bro. This is learned behavior. Hurt people hurt people. We've been getting hurt for over 500 years, and I'm not even playing the victim card because I'm not a victim. But this is just a fact. You've hurt people for over 500 years. That's what they started to learn. You know, any kids who grew up abused, what they do? Go to school and start abusing. Them usually be the bullies. They go home and get their ass whooped. So they go to school and take it out on other people. So before y'all start trying to say like, this is their culture. No, this is your culture that you taught this culture.
it don't even matter at the end of the day, like about some stuff. It's like as a human being yourself, you're going to, at some point, you can't put a cat in the corner and not expect it to defend itself. At the end of the day, it don't matter if we white, black, orange, yellow, purple, because at the end of the day, he did what he felt he should have did. And you never know how people act out of fear. And you have two people bullying him. You made me forget my whole train of thought where I was going.
Oh, my bad.
I'll
yeah,
be-
but
That was just to the troll accounts. This isn't to all white people.
But to go
because
back to that,
all
to-
white
to
people
go
don't
back
feel
to
that
what
way.
you're saying to the people that are still racist and promote those things, like A lot of that stuff we just gotta even ignore. If they're not making no noise outside in the streets, niggas gotta stop even entertaining these people and just stay vigilant and stay on point to where you able to defend yourself or take care of yourself as a man, as a woman, as anybody. You should have something where you can never be just helpless. Because a lot of these people that do stuff like that, like you said, they're kind of put a narrative that they do of us. They've been doing this, movies and everything else on the news. They make us look like we're these animals or whatever they want to call it. But this is just projections of what they are. 9 times out of 10, that's what you get from most people. People that project so much on you, they're projecting who they are inside of themselves. It's never always about you. It's more about them. So they're already teaching their kids these things. We've had stories of people that never even met black people in their lifetime get on the internet and spew out how much they hate black people from what they see on the news, from what they see on TV, because we're projected as something else. And even thinking we just start getting superheroes, nigga. You know what I mean? We wasn't getting all that, even though a lot of these original superheroes was black, but they changed it and presented it as something else. But go ahead, Kali.
Nah, I was just gonna say I'm just gonna be following this case closely, because it's interesting to see like what's gonna happen and how it's gonna end up. So again, like you said, nobody wins in this situation. And whatever happens will happen. But I wish again niggas would have just squabbled and got on with their day.
Like I said, man, just stick to the facts. To the people that's making this a race thing, you guys are the problem. On both sides of the spectrum. Because the only thing that matters is the facts of what happened. Because I guarantee you, if this was white on white or black on black, it wouldn't be this type of outrage. It would have been outrage from the families involved, but it wouldn't have been a clash of cultures. Because right now, that's all it is. It's white people feeling like, damn, we lost one. Fuck them niggas. That's exactly what it is. And it's a lot of black people that's like, yes, we finally got one. Because of how they throw George Floyd in black people's faces. That's what I'm seeing online. Oh, yeah. Well, what about Floyd? And we going to keep making fun of him since y'all want to champion him. So it's really the racist that's really the buffering issue between the cultures, because you got people over here who are starting to feel attacked from people here, and in return, they like, fuck that, I'm gonna start attacking y'all back. And then the people over here that's like, whoa, I'm not attacking y'all, why you attacking my people? Now they're offended and they start attacking back. So now you just got the clash of the cultures. Really, the people in between that's spewing the hate and the division, they need to be washed out on both sides. Because let's just stick to the facts. They have laws in place. Whatever happened, happened. Him admitting guilt doesn't necessarily mean he committed murder. To get off on self-defense, you have to say you did it. You have to say you did it. You can't say, I didn't do it, I wasn't there, but I did it in self-defense. No, you have to say, that was me. I stood my ground. So let's keep following the facts of the case and see how it turns out, man.
And I hope we all learn something from this. This is 2025, man. Trying to be a bully by physical force is bad for your health for most people. You keep thinking you won't be out here punking niggas because you bigger than somebody. These niggas got big guns and they got weapons on them. A lot of people ain't fighting no more. Them days is predominantly over with. You can hope you can get you a good fade, but 9 times out of 10, don't be surprised when niggas be ready to unalive something.
Just keep your hands to yourself, man. That's just the best way. Greet everybody with respect, the same respect you want in return. Common courtesy. You are not the law. Stop trying to enforce your own made-up laws. You're a citizen like everybody else. Behave like one. Act like one.